After agreeing to the CEO's proposal, my boyfriend regretted it. Mistaking the surprise my boyfriend had prepared for the client's sister as a proposal, I appeared in a white dress and was accused by my boyfriend of forcing him to marry me. I can marry you, but you can't force me to marry you. After breaking up, he showed off his love for me with a neck full of black and red kiss marks. I tried to reason with him, but he thought I was jealous. Later, when he found out I had a new boyfriend, he knelt outside my door all night with a diamond ring. I touched my stomach and said, "I can have your child, but you can't ask whose it is. Break up." When I said that, Ethan paused for a moment, then replied with a displeased tone. "Sophie, is it really necessary?" His tone was filled with confusion and disdain. At noon, while I was taking a nap in the office, I received a call from my friend Joy. "Sophie, white dress, white dress." Joy was surprised by a proposal while wearing a nightgown and slippers, her hair disheveled. In the proposal video, everyone was dressed up, but the female lead was so plain she stood out. She cried and laughed, and everyone took screenshots of her expressions. The white dress was the proposal code. Joy had already given me a luxurious white dress, saying that her experience was enough for me. She said someone had taken a photo of Ethan setting up the proposal scene. After hanging up, I hesitated for a moment but decided to take the afternoon off. I put on the white dress, did my makeup, and rushed to the address Joy gave me. When I arrived, Ethan was lying on the ground taking photos of someone. "Move a little to the left." Okay, don't move. "This angle looks great, sister." I didn't know how good the final photo would turn out, but I could see Ethan struggling to find the right angle. The sound of the camera shutter kept ringing in my ears, along with Ethan's cheerful and sweet calls of sister. It felt a bit awkward. My carefully dressed up self looked ridiculous and unnecessary. "You know I'm serious." After 7 years together, Ethan knew I wasn't the type to casually bring up breaking up when I was unhappy. He stood up impatiently, scratched his hair, and stood there slouching, exuding annoyance. "How many times do I have to explain that Elena and I are just work colleagues?" Hui-Ching, the boss's only daughter, had recently announced that she was taking over the family business. The beautiful and confident client's sister, Ethan, had booked the venue a week in advance, flown in roses from abroad, and personally set up the scene for the date. I took a deep breath. It doesn't matter. I'm the one who wants to end it. After saying that, I went back to my room, took off the dress, put on some comfortable clothes, and walked toward the bathroom with the white dress I had taken off. Just as I reached the door, Ethan stopped me. "I'm sorry." I looked up, my gaze following Ethan's slender wrist, gliding over his narrow shoulders, and landing on his clear eyes. As always, they were clean and transparent, with a hint of moisture when he felt wronged. But the evasion in his eyes was obvious. He snatched the dress from my hands and threw it into the sink. The fabric was too smooth and slid down the edge of the sink, landing on the floor. I shook Ethan's hand off forcefully. "How dare you throw my things?" He seemed to laugh in anger. "It just fell on the floor, it's not ruined. You can still wear it someday." I pushed Ethan away as he reached out to help pick it up and grabbed the dress first. "So you know what this dress means to me." Ethan turned away, looking uncomfortable. "I can marry you, but you can't force me to marry you." This explained why he had only glanced in my direction once that afternoon and hadn't looked at me again. I forced a faint smile. "Yeah, I'm forcing you to marry me." He knew I was wearing this dress to marry him, but he pretended not to see it and chose to avoid me. I had no intention of getting entangled in this relationship. Whether it was me or him who backed down first, I felt disinterested and powerless. "Are you moving out or am I?" Ethan slammed the door and left. At midnight, Joy bombarded me with calls to check my social media. The first post was a photo Ethan had uploaded half an hour ago. A girl's right arm was draped around his neck, and she was smiling beautifully at the mirror. He's tall, bending over significantly to accommodate her height. His bangs hide his eyebrows and eyes, so I can't see his expression, but the corners of his mouth are turned up. He's probably smiling too. He's having a great time with the client's sister at the midnight show. What about the half hour he took to come back in between? He made time just to brush me off. I ignored the pang of jealousy in my heart and forced a smile, teasing Joy. "You're about to be a mom, and you're still staying up late." On the other end of the phone, her voice sounded anxious. "Song Sophie, don't interrupt. What's going on?" I quickly explained the situation and concluded. It was my mistake, but Ethan refused to let it go. Yes, I knew from the beginning it was a misunderstanding. The feelings between Ethan and me have long since lost their initial sweetness. We seem to be too familiar with this relationship, familiar to the point of boredom and fatigue. Once upon a time, we would squeeze onto the sofa together, daydreaming about our life after marriage, choosing which city to settle in, and how many children to have. I don't know when it started, but now we lie on the sofa, each playing with our phones. Even though our bodies were still close, and I could reach out and hug him, my calm heartbeat told me that there was a distance between us. The person was still the same, and the sofa was still the same one we had sat on countless times, but our feelings were no longer what they once were. When I was putting on a dress and makeup, I wondered what Ethan's reaction would be when he saw me. In the end, Ethan's attitude was unexpected, but also exactly what I had imagined. From anticipation to sadness, and eventually to acceptance, perhaps because I had already sensed it coming, I accepted reality in just an afternoon. "Ethan and I are done." Joy scolded me for being foolish. I explained calmly, "You have to cut your losses in time, right?" I packed up Ethan's things and cleanly ended our 7-year relationship. After much thought, there was only one thing that was hard to resolve. Back then, I had begged the CEO to demote me and reduce my salary, requesting to be transferred to the Boston branch after its establishment. As for the reason, Ethan and I were both only children, one in the south and one in the north, and Boston's central location made it convenient to visit both sides. Now that Ethan and I had broken up, that request for a demotion and pay cut felt a bit embarrassing. Unbeknownst to me, the next day I was sent on a business trip to Boston. In the pouring rain, the CEO introduced me to the branch manager. Song Ruan, my second assistant. "She's familiar with the company and will be transferred here to assist you." With a heavy heart, I returned home only to find that Ethan had already moved all his things out of the living room. My mood was on the brink of collapse when I received a call from the executive assistant. "Song assistant, the president is ill. It's your responsibility to take care of him. Go there personally, right now." I didn't understand why the executive assistant emphasized personally so strongly. Thinking of the suit jacket he had draped over my head in the rain, I sniffled and resignedly closed the door. Sigh. I'll have to find another time to grieve. Song assistant, what do you think about choosing a location on River Walk? When you're tired from work, you can look up and see the skyscrapers across the river, with the river flowing beneath your feet. Standing by the floor-to-ceiling windows, stretching your arms, it's comfortable and pleasant. Song assistant, do you think the river water is more beautiful than lake water? With the blue sky, clear water, and drifting white clouds, wouldn't Central Park be more suitable? The aloof, reserved, and composed CEO showed no signs of illness, but when no one else was around, he tended to talk more. I couldn't take it anymore and interrupted his rambling. "Alex, in my personal opinion, Riverwalk is too expensive, Central Park is too far, and the Rodeo Drive area is a good option." The CEO nodded. "Song assistant, you have a point." Song assistant applied for a demotion and pay cut to transfer to Boston, and he's so familiar with Boston, it seems he really loves that city. I heard Boston's city emblem is visually appealing, it's home to many universities, and it has a rich historical heritage. A voice as low as a cello echoed in my ears, and I looked up humbly. "Alex, can I change my mind?" The CEO, interrupted, looked puzzled. "What?" I struggled to say, "I don't want to be demoted and take a pay cut." The CEO said solemnly, "Assistant Song is being too hard on yourself. You've worked hard for the company, expanding its horizons. You deserve a promotion and a raise." I left 2 tears on my cheeks. "We're breaking up. There's no need to move to Boston to accommodate the distance between our homes." After a long pause, the CEO said in a bitter tone, "I understand." The high fever came on silently. With physical health compromised, emotions are extremely fragile, and the urge to confide is strong. It's normal. This is my forced self-reassurance after waking up in a stranger's room. Who would have thought that the CEO, dressed in a custom-made suit, of unknown age but definitely older than me, with a privileged background, reserved and elegant, wearing gold-rimmed glasses, and exuding both restraint and sensuality, would confess his feelings to me while I was heartbroken, revealing that he had secretly loved me for many years. In my memory, I looked at the CEO with a pout. I can find another boyfriend, but money. I raised my neck and screamed at the top of my lungs, I. The CEO wiped my tears slowly and asked me in a pitying tone. You've already made your choice, why lower yourself like this? Yes. Why try something you know isn't a proposal? Going was pushing Ethan away, but also pushing myself away. 7 years of feelings, letting go is hard, but continuing feels pointless. Give yourself some closure. On the way there, I kept imagining myself being proposed to on one knee, covering my mouth with a smile as tears fell, then reaching out my hand to watch the ring slip onto my finger, and finally embracing in cheers, surrounded by happiness and sweetness. It's not about forcing marriage or hating marriage. Even in my imagination, the person kneeling down wasn't Ethan, there was no specific face. Do you know that feeling? The CEO's deep eyes fixed on me. I know. You long for marriage and a perfect romance, but that's different from wanting to marry him. I thought you liked Boston, so I chose Boston for the branch office. But you liked Boston for a long-term future with someone else. When I heard that, I was initially heartbroken, but then I realized that you no longer considered that person in your future plans, and I was happy. After all these years, I can finally confess my feelings to you openly. See, my sadness and happiness are two different things. His low, melodious voice spoke softly, and I, feeling comforted, asked stupidly. Alex, does that mean you've been secretly in love with me? Jiang Yanli. The president corrected him seriously. You know I have a boyfriend. I've already made my feelings clear. I can't go around digging up your employees' walls with a shovel. I must have been burned out. When did you ever show it? Jiang Yanli sighed. Every time we were alone together. The last time we went to Boston, I folded the tray table for you when the plane took off, and covered you with a blanket when you fell asleep. A considerate leader, caring for his subordinates. When it rained heavily, I immediately took off my jacket to shield you from the rain. A gentlemanly leader, looking out for the ladies. On the cruise, I took you to see the night view of Jiangqing. I retorted confidently, what about the regional manager? You two discussed the plan all night. Jiang Yanli was furious. Sans Sophie, besides using work as an excuse, what other reason could I have to ask you to accompany me to see the night view? Are you really blind or just pretending not to understand? The standard for business trips at the assistant level is economy class. Every time I told you there were no tickets available for an upgrade, it was a lie. I did it so I could spend more time with you. Whether you're a gentleman or just can't bear to part with me, I know the truth. How much could a few steps get you wet? But it's you, so I couldn't bear to let you go. For you, I've broken my own principles countless times. I sniffed and felt a bit guilty. I didn't notice. Seeing his hurt expression, I quickly waved it off. No, I noticed before. Every time we work alone, you talk so much. I always thought you were maintaining your aloof, domineering boss persona, and when you get tired, you let your true self show around me. I patted his shoulder. Alex, I admit it, you have a crush on me. The sober Jiang Yanli finally noticed something was off with me. This rather controversial confession finally came to an end. That day, I received a notice that the partner was coming to renew the contract. I prepared the documents and pushed open the meeting room door. Ethan was choking someone and kissing them passionately. Dog brother. The sounds of panting and sucking echoed in my ears. He noticed I had entered, released the person in his arms, and maliciously wiped his lips with his finger, leaving a trail of bright lipstick down to his jawline. Hu Qing scanned me up and down, and certain information became clear in an instant. She curved her lips into a smile, grabbed a tissue from the table, and stuffed it into Ethan's hand, pointing at his chin. You were too enthusiastic. Ethan casually wrapped his arms around Hu Qing's waist and pulled her closer. It's all your fault for being so forward. I couldn't resist. As he said this, his eyes never left me. Seeing the shock on my face, he smirked triumphantly. Jiang Yanli used work as an excuse and told me to leave first. When I got home after work, Ethan was indeed leaning against the corridor outside the door, smoking. He raised his chin and blew out a smoke ring, his neck marked with red and black patches. He must have just finished showering. The air around him was filled with the scent of rose-scented body wash, not the minty scent he usually used, sweet and cloying. "Sophie, do you regret it?" The little regret I had left vanished instantly. "Are you doing this to make me regret it? You deliberately let me see him kissing someone else, deliberately showed me the kiss marks on your neck after being intimate." Seeing my cold tone, Ethan paused for a few seconds before approaching me forcefully. "I've been so good to you, quit smoking for you, and been completely devoted to you. The position of expansion manager was one I helped you secure, and with the Elena family partnership, I'm sure to be the top performer. After 7 years of love, you just say break up and break up, tell me to move out and I move out. It's all because you're taking advantage of my feelings for you. It's just marriage. What's wrong with waiting a few more years? Why are you forcing me? You're the one who said break up, but now that you see me with someone else, you're the one who can't accept it." Ethan's every word was an accusation, all blaming me for leading this relationship to its happy ending. Quitting smoking was his own promise to me because I don't like the smell of smoke from our first kiss. Fighting for the position was because the Boston branch was suitable for him, and the only vacant position was expansion manager. The plan to go to Boston was something we had already decided on together long ago. As for marriage, when we confirmed our relationship, weren't we aiming for a lifelong commitment with each other? What's the difference between early and late? Is it that you don't want to get married now, or that you don't want to marry me now? Since the initial love and passion have faded, leaving only a calm maintenance of the relationship, it's clear that this relationship has no future. Breaking up is better for both of us, isn't it? Ethan whispered in my ear with malice. "Sophie, I just want you to taste the pain of losing me so you'll learn to cherish me." He was waiting for me to lower my head and ask him to get back together. I thought it was mutual boredom and the end of passion, a natural breakup. Now it seems like that's not the case. I was planning to take some time to talk things through, but now I have to go on a business trip again. "Sophie, this is the best time of year for snorkeling. Do you want to go?" "Alex." "Yan Li." His deep, pleasant voice carried a hint of resentment, stirring an unusual pang in my heart. The Alex who was alone with me was like a gentle wolf that had found its master, combining strength and tenderness in a way that was irresistibly alluring. "Sophie, you said you'd try to accept me." I kept my eyes straight ahead, pretending to be calm. My heart was racing. After being so open and honest, Jiang Yanli was proactive yet subtle, making it impossible to refuse him. When we were alone, he was thoughtful and considerate, attending to every detail. At work, he was strict and steady, with an aura like the leader of a pack of wolves, inspiring admiration. Snorkeling was thrilling and awe-inspiring. San Diego is beautiful. As dusk fell, we strolled along the beach, the evening breeze carrying away the day's fatigue, and the waves crashing against the rocks. The eternal rise and fall of the sun, the ebb and flow of the tides, bestow countless moments of romance upon the world. The light stretched Jiang Yanli's shadow long and thin. I felt playful and jumped up. "I stepped on it, you can't move." He curved his lips into a smile, looking at me with indulgence. "Sophie, I've dreamed of this scene countless times." I shook my body. "Then why are you moving? Aren't you afraid that this is just a dream, and if you move, it will end?" He slowly approached, pressing his fingers against my hair blown by the wind, caressing it with lingering affection before restraining himself and pulling his hand back. "A dream spanning years, I've grown accustomed to it." "All right, I admit it, I'm heartbroken." Just then, I noticed Wu-Qing teasing a shy young boy in the distance. She took the lollipop out of her mouth and pressed it against the teenager's rosy lips. "Try it and tell me what it tastes like." The teenager blushed and bit the lollipop into his mouth. Apple flavor. Wu-Qing noticed us and greeted us. While the teenager went to buy water, I couldn't resist asking the question burning in my heart. "Does Ethan know?" "Why would he need to know? Aren't you two dating?" Wu-Qing snorted derisively. "It's a matter of mutual consent." "Who said it's a relationship? At most, it's just a date." My pupils dilated in shock, and after a moment, I repeated the same question. "Does Ethan know?" Whether he knows or not, he's just an insignificant fish in your pond. She said casually, "What's the matter? Do men need a title?" That evening, Jiang Yanli sent me to the hotel room door. His gaze was fixed on me, like a warm sea breeze enveloping me. Without thinking, I asked, "Want to come in for a while?" Jiang Yanli's eyes lit up. He seemed disbelieving. "Sophie, are you sure?" I realized belatedly how meaningful that invitation was. Just as I was racking my brain for an excuse, Hu Qing's words suddenly popped into my mind. Do men really need a title? I hadn't felt this flutter in my heart or this racing heartbeat in a long time. Seeing that I hadn't agreed or refused, Jiang Yanli stood outside the door, waiting quietly, elegant and composed. Though he was dressed formally, his gaze was filled with affection, and the gentle aura emanating from him felt like a massive magnet, drawing me in. Staying the night felt too rushed. The first time with Ethan, he had lingered for a long time. But thinking of Hu Qing's words, Alex, a man of his stature and wealth, with his good looks, probably wouldn't ask for a commitment afterward. I never expected him to ask for it beforehand. "Sophie, will you marry me?" I didn't answer, so he kept kissing me. But only kissing. I stayed put, clutching his collar and gasping for breath. "Are you doing this on purpose?" His wet kiss stopped at my ear. "Is my purpose in life to be with Sophie forever?" I snapped back to reality. "Are you proposing this soon?" Jiang Yanli stepped back slightly, so we could both see each other's eyes. "I'm asking for your consent. If it's a proposal, I'd do it in a more formal setting, inviting everyone important to witness it." I watched him slowly lower himself, his narrow waist, broad shoulders, and handsome features, until he knelt on one knee, looking up at me. "Can I?" His eyes were filled with tenderness that seemed to traverse mountains and rivers. I felt like I was falling in love again. I nodded slightly, and Jiang Yanli's face lit up with surprise. The kiss started at the door and ended by the bed. 3 minutes later, Jiang Yanli buried his face in my neck and murmured, "I'm just too excited." I wanted to laugh, but it felt inappropriate. I stroked the soft hair at the back of his head. "I'm happy too." He bit my earlobe, his fingers beginning to wander restlessly. "I want to hear Sophie say it feels good." I saw Ethan again downstairs at the company. Hu Qing tugged at Ethan's collar, playfully leaving a lip print on his profile. "I'll pick you up after work." Out of Hu Qing's sight, Ethan raised his eyebrows at me in a provocative manner. Childish Ethan, facing Hu Qing's swaying, arrogant departure, was completely defeated. Jiang Yanli told me that Hu Qing waved his fingers, and boys younger and more handsome than Ethan lined up to call her sister. "You two aren't from the same world." I kindly reminded Ethan, but he thought I was jealous. "I didn't expect you to be as jealous as an ordinary woman." It was just one sentence. Why make up so many stories to save face? Every time we had a fight, it was me who begged you for forgiveness. But when it comes to you, saying I'm sorry is so hard. I was so shocked by his words that I couldn't speak. Ethan stopped laughing and walked closer. "Sophie, I only touched her once. She's not as good as you. If you just say, 'I'm sorry, let's get back together,' I promise I'll never see her again. From now on, you'll be the only one for me. In 2 years, when it's time to get married, I'll give you a proposal you'll never forget." I frowned. "You misunderstood. I just don't want you to get hurt because of our fight." Ethan froze in place, staring blankly for half a minute before reacting. He laughed sarcastically a few times, then roared at me in anger. "Song Ruan, don't you dare regret this." Ethan and Hu Qing, who was manipulating whom? I couldn't tell. But at least I'd said everything I needed to. I had no regrets. The next time I heard about Ethan, it was in the financial newspaper. Elena family's only daughter versus younger brother, true love or sugar daddy? Front page headline. By then, Ethan's resignation procedures had been completed, and rumors about him were swirling throughout the company. The most widely circulated version was that Ethan had gone to great lengths, disregarding his dignity, to grovel before the client's sister, begging for a chance to marry into the family. I saw the original video in Jiang Yanli's WeChat moments. Hu Qing's caption was simple, "You're the one." Casual and reckless. In the video, Ethan's face was flushed red, even the corners of his eyes were red, and his eyes were wet. A tear trickled down his straight nose. Sister, just me, isn't that enough? His tone was pitiful and heartbreaking. The dim lighting, the broken atmosphere, and his good looks made it hard not to feel sorry for him. Even after spending so many years together, I couldn't tell if it was real or not. The hand on my waist tightened, and Jiang Yanli asked cautiously from behind, "Is Sophie feeling sorry for him?" I thought for a moment and shook my head. "We're not together anymore." As soon as I said that, Jiang Yanli stood up, turned me to face him, and looked into my eyes. "Can we make it public then?" Because Ethan and I had always been in a secret office romance, not in the same department or even on the same floor. After breaking up, even without love, I could at least choose my job. Now, with Jiang Yanli, if we go public and break up, I'll have nothing. As I was weighing my options, Jiang Yanli lifted my chin. "Sophie, you've already agreed to give me a chance. I won't let you down." The warmth of his fingers lingered on my chin, and the heat in his eyes burned my heart. I raised my hand and touched his cheek. "It's okay. When two people first start dating, every promise they make is sincere. Promises can change, and hearts can change. But I believe that love shouldn't be abandoned just because of uncertainty." Jiang Yanli pressed his face against my palm and said solemnly, "I love Sophie, and this will never change." A kiss landed on the corner of my lips, and his voice was firm, "Until death do us part." When I saw Ethan again, he was dressed in luxury, wearing a mask that covered his face tightly, and I almost didn't recognize him. "You've been doing well after all this time." Though his voice was hoarse, I recognized him immediately. I replied politely but distantly, "I'm fine." He looked at me, waiting for me to speak. I was holding a large bag of groceries, waiting for him to step aside. Jiang Yanli had just returned from a business trip. He had been complaining about the food abroad, so I bought extra dishes. We stood there in silence. Just as I was about to give up, he suddenly spoke. "You're so stubborn." I froze for half a minute before daring to guess that he was waiting for me to admit I was wrong and ask him to get back together. "You." He awkwardly turned away, revealing a strange mark on his neck. "This is your last chance." He emphasized, "This is the last time I'll come looking for you." Such a clear hint. If you couldn't catch it, it would be like you were deliberately making things difficult. "Ethan, I thought you'd let go." "Actually." Before I could finish, he interrupted me angrily. "Sophie, I've said enough. It's enough. Let's just call it quits. Do you really want me to propose before you'll move on?" I was about to explain when the bag handle snapped under the weight, spilling its contents onto the ground. A square box landed at Ethan's feet. He picked it up first, his eyes bloodshot. "What's this for?" The collar of his shirt shifted as he picked it up, revealing a red mark around his neck, not too wide or narrow, as if something had been tightened around it. In a daze, he approached me with the box. "Tell me, why did you buy this after we broke up?" His expression was grim, his gaze fierce. Linking that to the marks on his neck, I felt for the first time that I didn't really know this person. "I was just about to tell you. I'm in a relationship now. I hope you'll be okay." I glanced at his neck. "I hope you're okay." He stared at me as if I were his mortal enemy. The box in his hand deformed, then he threw it at my face without mercy. "You're so cheap. Someone else could trick you into bed with just a promise of marriage." The hateful, contemptuous tone made it seem like I had done something wrong to him. I had thought I would say goodbye calmly and peacefully. Now it seems the outcome was disappointing. But at least it's over. I just didn't expect Ethan to feel differently. Joy's due date arrived, so I took annual leave to be with her, but Jiang Yanli insisted on coming along. By the time I boarded the plane, Joy had already gone into labor. When I arrived, the baby had already been born, Sophie, a tiny bundle, lying beside Joy. I held Joy's hand, smiling despite myself, but tears streamed down my face. Joy was as pale as I was, her lips devoid of color, but her eyes brimmed with tears of joy. In the quiet, Joy squeezed her eyes shut and asked me, "Boss? Supervisor?" I didn't plan to hide it, so I told her the truth. Joy's eyes lit up. "Does Alex have a Maybach?" I couldn't help but roll my eyes. Am I a little girl running away in the rain? Who hasn't read a few boss romance novels in school? We chatted for a while, and Joy cautiously asked, What about Ethan? I thought back to the last time Ethan came to find me, his obsession and anger, and couldn't help but sigh. If Ethan really has feelings for you, and he proposes to you now, what would you do? I thought about it carefully. In my mind, a large hand gently lifted my left hand, and under his loving gaze, the ring slowly slipped onto my finger. Jiang Yanli's handsome features lit up with a smile, dazzlingly bright. Joy rubbed her face vigorously. Shh, don't say that. I'm currently on a high-rise bridge in a Maybach on a rainy night. I laughed at her antics. Joy was being taken care of by her husband, so I felt at ease leaving after staying for a few days. As I was leaving, I hugged the little pink bundle and kissed it repeatedly. Joy's gaze passed over me and landed on Jiang Yanli behind me, implying something. What are you jealous of? You'll have it too. My cheeks felt warm for the first time in a while. Actually, Jiang Yanli had mentioned it several times before. As long as I nodded, he would immediately arrange the proposal and engagement. He said that as long as I made my intentions clear, he would handle the rest. He gave me all the respect I deserved. It's almost time. I left those words behind and pulled Jiang Yanli, who was still in shock, away. Once we were in the car, Jiang Yanli finally snapped out of it. What did Sophie mean just now? He stared at me intently, his face brimming with uncontrollable joy. I felt like teasing him. That's just how new mothers are after giving birth, their hormones are all over the place, trying to keep Joy happy. The joy that had spread across Jiang Yanli's face faded away like a flood, and his smile froze on his lips. In no time, he composed himself, curved his lips upward, and smiled at me again. I'll wait until you're ready. The anticipation and hope in his tone made my heart race. His eyes were filled with my reflection, his expression sincere and earnest. A warm current surged through me, and the joy that came from the depths of my heart filled every corner of my body, leaving me feeling full and content. I met his gaze and replied, I will. Jiang Yanli had prepared a grand proposal, but it was not about luxury or extravagance. He had coordinated the schedules of everyone important to him to ensure that everyone could be present. Since Joy was still in the postpartum period, the date was set for a month later. Ethan found out through a mutual friend and came to confront me. I showed him the two hands I was holding with Jiang Yanli with complete composure. Yes, my boyfriend is going to propose to me. Ethan looked a bit uneasy, his gaze darting back and forth between Jiang Yanli and me several times before he finally spoke up. Can we talk alone? Jiang Yanli and I exchanged a glance, and he spoke up confidently. Don't worry about me. It's your decision. I let go of his hand and motioned for him to leave first. He calmly accepted the signal, took a few steps, then turned back. I've arranged for the photography team to discuss the on-site style. I'll wait for you in the meeting room. As soon as he was out of earshot, Ethan blurted out. They're just rich people playing around. We're not in the same world as them. Are you talking about Jiang Yanli, or Huiqing? At the mention of Huiqing, Ethan's tone turned harsh. So you hooked up with Alex just to get back at me for being with someone else? A wave of helplessness washed over me. Ethan, who had immediately moved on after breaking up with me, was now accusing me of his own actions. After a moment, Ethan softened his tone. I'm not trying to argue with you. Let's just make up. I exhaled deeply. You're the one causing trouble. He didn't understand and forced himself to apologize. Even if I was wrong, let's not be stubborn anymore, okay? I stared at him. Ethan, don't you get it? We ended it the day we broke up. He was confused, and his pent-up anger erupted. Song Ruan, I've already humbled myself to beg you to get back together. What more do you want from me? Now I'm holding a diamond ring and kneeling before you, proposing to you, and you're only willing to come back then? I shook my head, even more confused. How could I make Ethan believe that I really wasn't forcing him to marry me? I could only patiently say, it's okay, what you do with others has nothing to do with me. He impatiently interrupted, I was just using Huiqing to provoke you. I never intended to marry her from the start. The person I've always wanted to marry is you. People came and went around us, their conversations never ceasing. The world remained noisy, but my heartbeat remained steady. No acceleration, no fluctuations. The man who once loved me so passionately, who made the most romantic promises to me, left me with a calm heart. I spoke slowly and clearly, Ethan, I don't love you anymore. When we first started dating, I wanted to marry you because of love. Later, I wanted to marry you because of love. Now, I will marry because of love, but it has nothing to do with you. I saw Ethan's expression freeze, crack inch by inch, and finally leave in disarray, disappearing from my sight. I thought it was over for good, but that night, he knelt outside my door all night. Sophie, I was wrong. Please, marry me. His eyes were bloodshot, and he crawled to my feet. I don't know how long he knelt there, but when he crawled over, he was clearly struggling to move. He held a diamond ring in his hand, looking up at me pitifully. At that moment, I was getting ready for work, with a light makeup, having had a good night's sleep, feeling refreshed. The man who had insisted on staying the night was massaging my lower back, knowing he was in the wrong. When he saw Ethan, he stopped immediately. Ethan also saw Jian Yanli behind me. After a moment of shock, he seemed to make up his mind and moved the ring closer to me. Sophie, I love you. I've always loved only you. Please agree to marry me. I didn't expect that after saying it so clearly, Ethan would appear before me in this way. For a moment, I didn't know how to respond. Little did I know that my actions would be misunderstood by the person behind me. Sophie, you. I felt an overwhelming sadness engulfing me from behind. When Jian Yanli pulled me behind him and stood in front of me, I snapped out of it, pulling myself out of the memory. Thankfully, joy wasn't there. I forced the melodramatic scenes out of my mind. In front of an angry CEO, there was no trembling, pitiful little girl. Instead, there was someone being pulled into a Maybach. Before proposing, one should at least confirm the other person's feelings to avoid causing them any confusion or discomfort. Ethan lacked the necessary confidence and stubbornly insisted. Sophie and I have been together for 7 years, our feelings are mutual. Jian Yanli cut straight to the point. Mutual feelings require waiting until both parties have moved on before deciding to propose? Ethan was speechless. Jian Yanli took my hand, pulled me into his embrace, closed the door, and walked toward the elevator. As we passed Ethan, he grabbed my wrist. Song Ruan. I'm willing to wait until you're ready to marry me. His eyes were filled with obsession. I placed my other hand on my abdomen. I can give you a child, but you can't ask who the father is. Is that acceptable to you? He looked at me, the light in his eyes fading, then deceived himself. Yes, you're mine. We once promised to marry each other. Jian Yanli nervously squeezed my palm. I patted it gently to comfort him and continued to Ethan, you said it yourself, that was in the past. He paused, a hint of confusion in his eyes. Was it me who pushed you away? I thought about it. Perhaps at first, he was unwilling, didn't want to marry, didn't want to be bound. Over time, the relationship grew apart, and both of us are to blame. I chose my words carefully. Maybe not every relationship can bloom and bear fruit. Some people can stay by your side for a while others can stay by your side for a lifetime. Ethan took a step forward. Sophie, how do you know who can stay by your side for a while and who can stay by your side for a lifetime? I don't know. I only know that I will cherish the person who is by my side now. Whether it's for a while or for a lifetime, the time he spent in my life was a real and sweet memory. I looked up at Jian Yanli. Perhaps it wasn't him in the end. But now, my heart tells me that I am willing to spend my life with him. I choose to follow my heart. I can't refuse to embrace every new tomorrow just because I'm afraid of change. Ethan and Huiqing broke up. Huiqing posted on her social media, even the best leash can't hold a dog that wants to leave. I didn't take it to heart. Joy sent me photos every day, looking radiant and happy. Little Coco was so cute and adorable, making me want to touch her chubby little face. Jian Yanli saw me staring at the photos and smiled, tightening his arms around me. Soon. A month later, there was a perfect proposal, heartfelt confessions, and promises. I was surrounded by sweetness and happiness all day long. At night, I buried my face in the pillow, angry. Jian Yanli smiled contentedly. How could there be such a person? He was so proper and steady, yet he couldn't control himself at certain times. I wanted to scold him for being so indulgent, but there wasn't a single mark left on my body, though my waist ached and my legs felt weak. Now, every time I saw him undo his tie, my heart raced. I glared at him with misty eyes, and he leaned in to kiss my eyes. Sophie, stop glaring. You're just too tempting. A year later, their son Noah was born, and Jiang Yanli was so excited he couldn't sleep all night. Soon he started to get upset. Sophie, you lied to me. I gently placed the sleeping Noah in his crib, pulling the blanket over him while whispering, "How did I lie to you? You lied about having a child with me." I turned to look at Jiang Yanli in surprise. He looked dejected. You like the child, but you don't like me. I laughed it off. Where have you seen a father jealous of his own child? He mimicked his son's pout. You don't spend any time with me. I made sure the blanket was tucked in and reached out to him. What do you want to do? Watch a movie or? He pulled me into his arms and kissed me, silencing the rest of my words. I missed Sophie. Ethan had been waiting. After spending so much time together, there would inevitably be moments of boredom. He wanted to be the one Sophie looked back at and saw. He kept the diamond ring he had bought close to his heart, ready at any moment. Then he saw the two people he loved become 3, then 4. The person he had longed for, whose eyes were filled with warmth and love, had only grown more affectionate over the years. But she had never lingered on him. In the endless waiting, he finally understood a truth. The person who would spend the rest of his life with Sophie wasn't him. In the numbness of his heart, he thought, this is for the best. As long as Sophie is happy and content.